Shalom. I'd like to first pay my respects to the greatest man ever, the man y'all eagerly call Jesus Christ, Yahweh Shah. And give all gratitude and appreciation to the greatest of all time, the Most High, Yahweh himself.
It's the story of
Adam was a man, and before man had a name, they were called dust. And the Most High made a man that he chose to be born from out of the dust on the east side of the planet, and gave him the spirit of wisdom. He didn't have to work and grow his own food. And along with that, he gave him the most beautiful trees and the best plants to eat, with a person who had the secrets of life, but also a person who had the secrets to good and evil. Because at this point, he had it all good. He only knew good things. He only experienced good things. It was paradise.
Adam means man, or from the ground, because man came from the ground and was called dust. So after Yahweh named Adam, which means man, then the rest of the dust was named after him, being called mankind, because man was named after the first ruler of the world, who was called Adam. With that wisdom, he became the firstborn ruler of the world, and the Most High had him guard that area to rule it and take care of it, which was on the east side of the planet, or near the Jordan River, which you would call Jerusalem. Now you could do anything you wanted, eat from what a tree wanted, enjoy the ways of other people, but he had to stay away from the ways of this one man in particular, or he would fall and die. And for a time, this seemed like an easy task for him, until he became lonely, and this loneliness in the future was going to get him, and the Most High knew. But before that happened, he created language and named all the animals on the planet and every living thing. But eventually his loneliness got to him, so the Most High found him a woman he fell in love with, from his own nationality. She was the most beautiful woman at that time, with a very fine personality. He taught her everything he knew, and they were happy together. And they separated from their families and clinged to each other. They weren't ashamed of each other, nor were they embarrassed of the things they knew. One day, that very man he was warned about tempted this woman into following his ways. When she found him attractive and liked how he sounded, with clever words, he poisoned her mind with selfish desires. And instead of checking the situation or letting her go, he stuck around and followed in her footsteps, ultimately following the same footsteps of the evil man, of the serpent at that time. The very same man that he was told not to listen to, because the information he gave her, she brought back to him.
How do you want to trust?
And the things he gave them, it was things that made them insecure and ashamed of what they already knew was right. So they covered up trying to blend in, which eventually cut off his connection to the Most High. Once they were caught, they all blamed each other, and he even became arrogant enough to blame the Most High, cursing him and his descendants to be in a forever war with this man and his children and our woman being cursed to be emotional and have kids in sorrows and misery. Including having to grow our own crops and work just to eat. Until he eventually died and returned to dust, you know. Adam then gave his wife a name, Eve, for her lively personality, and because she was the mother of the living, the mother of his kids. And this would eventually cost Adam his kingdom and his rulership. And the Most High covered their shame before they left, symbolic of them one day coming back to his good graces. But before they left, they were mocked. But there was a blessing in the chastisement. The Most High was merciful. He loved his son and gave Adam a wink, and something he knew only he could achieve. If he could reach out his hands, he could receive immortality. And one day him and his children kill that man and all his descendants. And him and his family will finally be free of this curse passed down to him and his children. Which he did. As Lord Yahweh showed, or may I even call Jesus Christ, the Lion of Judah, to the ancestors of the so-called Negroes, King David. Shalom. This was a short, edifying lesson.